willkommen zurück zum letzten Teil des heutigen Tages. I will switch to English again because our guest is coming all the way from Los Angeles, and I asked him before, just for 3 days, 9,000 kilometers, just for 3 days, he's heading back to LA on Saturday, and we're talking with Michael Ajakwe, award-winning, Emmy-winning TV producer, but not only TV producer, who's talking about one of his own shows later, but also the founder and still executive director of the LA Web Fest. We just saw an ad for that a couple of minutes ago on the big screen, and you will show us some of the highlights of this year's festival, I guess. So I would say the stage is yours. Enjoy a quick ride through all the genres and all the highlights, what this year's LA Web Fest had to offer. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm very honored to be here. 2 years ago, there was a student that went to school here, and he was at my festival, and he did Airbnb. And when he did Airbnb, he stayed an extra week after the festival was over. And he emailed me and he said, hey, are you available for lunch? And I was very busy. Because when the festival's over, I'm busy for another whole month, getting out awards and just debriefing, and I'm just tired. I don't want to see, the last thing I want to see is a producer after the festival. But for some reason, I said, okay, I'll meet you for lunch. He's going to buy the lunch too. That's good. You know, I don't have to spend any money. So I got there. He'd been there for hours because I didn't know he had taken a bus. He took a bus there. He didn't have a car. Got there 2 hours early. And I felt so bad for the guy. I wound up buying him lunch. And I took him to lunch, and we talked, and then he went back. He's Hungarian. He went back, but he was living in Germany. I didn't know he was going to school here. His name is Mark Zalagi. Mark Zalagi is his name. So then that was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. So then 6 months ago, Mark emailed me in Facebook and said, hey, you know, we're doing something here in Germany at the school I just graduated from, Filmakademie, and I was telling my instructor about you, and I think it would be good if you were here. We were able to make you a part of this, and would you come? And I said, sure. He said, it's in Ludwigsburg. I said, where the hell is that? I'll come anyway. I don't care, I don't care where it's at. I'll come. And then Michael and I began emailing each other, and then the Rome Web Fest was last month, and he was at the Rome Web Fest. I came to the Rome Web Fest, and we wound up meeting there, having dinner, having lunch, and now here I am a month later. I'm here with you guys. So I want to thank Michael, first of all, for making this possible for me to be here, your instructor. So. There was an article just in a magazine called the LA Business Journal. It was from the 19th of March of this year. I think the website is www.bizjournals.com from the 19th of March of this year. And the question of the day in the article said, should colleges place more emphasis on helping students create web series? And basically the overwhelming response from the professors was yes, they should, because the web series has become something that was sort of a fad, something that people weren't taking seriously just a few years ago. And now it seems like everybody and their grandmother is making a web series and wants to express themselves, even people like myself. I have a television background, a theater background, first doing theater, and then from theater got me into television and then movies. But most of my credits are television and theater. And I was working on a television show, but all the young people on my show, the guys in their early 20s, they were all working on something called a web series. I didn't really understand it. I'd seen a few of them, but I didn't really have a real appreciation for it. And then I did some research on it and spent a whole year, as a matter of fact. I didn't do anything. All I did was watch anything I could find that was online. And I realized that this was very different than what I had learned in film and television, because the stories were much shorter, which meant I've always felt that it's much more difficult to write short than to write long. You know, if you write a novel or a screenplay, you have so much more time. Even though you're not supposed to waste words, you do have a lot more time. Television is even a more concise because you have to really set everything up much shorter, much faster. But this is even, web series is even more disciplined in many ways than television, with 3 minutes, 6 minutes, and 9 minutes to tell a story. I would talk to my colleagues about this when I was discovering this, and they would dismiss it and say, oh, that's nothing, that's stupid, who wants to do that? Part of that attitude came from the fact that they were afraid because they didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it either. How do you write a 9-minute show? How do you write a 6-minute show? And sometimes when people are afraid of something, instead of trying to understand it, they dismiss it, demonize it, make it seem like it's not important. But inside, they really want to know that thing. So I've spent the last 5 or 6 years, I did a web series, which you'll see later. You'll see a little bit of it. I did a web series 5 years ago, and my editor and I would sit in the edit bay, and we'd watch the show, and we would just laugh, and we just had a good time. But it was just he and I, just the two of us. It was kind of weird, just the two of us. I said, we need more people, man. We got to, do something. And so I said, I hope somebody just starts a festival. Why don't they bring us all together so we can all do this as a group? Because I know there are more people that have made these shows. And I waited for 1 year, and nothing happened. And so at the end of the year, my New Year's resolution in 2009 was to start a festival, something small in Los Angeles, just for people in LA and maybe New York. And that's how the LA Web Fest was started. I didn't have any money to do this, but I have a theater background, so I knew of a theater in town where I'd done many shows, and they had a screen that came down from the ceiling. It was 12 by 15, big screen, 100 seats. They also had a room for storage, but that room sometimes would double as a smaller theater for 40 seats. So I had them take everything out of the storage and use that as a workshop room, 40 seats. There were not even a big enough space for a table, just 6 chairs for guests, 40 seats. And the owner was a good friend of mine, and so he agreed to do it. I'd pay him later. And that's how it started. I mean, very humble. We probably started with $500 or $600. And then we were getting submissions from all over the country. It was surprising. And we got one from Canada. I remember Canada. I said, wow, they're making web series in Canada? We got one from Mexico as well. And the next year, we got more from India. We got them from France and Spain and Italy. And the thing has just grown, as you'll see in one of the videos, from a room not even this big. It was not as big as this room. It was maybe half the size of this room to, it's an international festival. It's at the big Hilton Hotel. We take up an entire floor of space, and people come, hundreds, thousands of people come from everywhere to do this. And but just 3 years ago, we were in a small space. We were in a space that was half this size, I swear. So anyway, I'm here today. I came here to talk about web series. I call it the web series a worldwide movement of storytellers because to me, that's what it is. It's more than just making a show in your house or with your friends. It's a movement. It's like I'm a little older than most of you in here, but when I was your age, a little younger, hip-hop, rap music was starting. This is in the 80s, the early to mid-80s. And people didn't understand hip-hop or rap. They were like, what, these people shouting, my mother, blah, blah, blah. I'm better than you, my mother does this, and da, da, da. And people were like, what is this noise? The radio stations wouldn't play it, and the record labels wouldn't care. They had no labels for rap. So the people that were making rap, they were selling their cassettes on the beach. There were no DVDs, no CDs by then. This is a cassette. That's how far back. You guys may not even know what a cassette is, most of you. But it was a little tape, 2-spool tape, and that was big back in the 80s. And so they were selling them at clubs, out of the trunk of the car, suitcases. People like Will Smith was doing that, LL Cool J. Those guys are actors now, but they were rappers back in the day. But the overall belief was that this music would not last. It was going to die. It was a waste of time. And we couldn't understand what the hell they were saying on top of that. So, of course, they were wrong. Rap grew, it kept growing, and by the 90s, it was the dominant music in the industry. And now you got guys like Jay-Z and Dr. Dre that are billionaires, damn near billionaires off of rap and hip-hop music, and Russell Simmons. And it was more than just the music, it was a culture. Hip-hop is like a culture if you're really into it. The way they dress and talk and all that stuff. So I see the web series very similar in terms of it being a movement of storytellers that is crossing all kinds of boundaries. I mean, there's no boundaries I've been working in television and film for 25 years. And I can tell you right now, web series has taken me more places than film and television ever did. I mean, I went to Brazil, I've been to Africa, behind film and television. I created a show in Brazil about 10 years ago. But in the last year, I've been to 7 countries because of web series, just in the last 1 year. So it's really making the world smaller, and it's providing something that film and television don't provide, which is the opportunity for people to work together immediately. You don't have to wait years and years. You can work together. People are doing mashups and crossovers. People are getting to know each other, getting to know each other's cultures through their web series and making friends, making genuine friendships. Because a lot of people that are making web series, if you're into web series, people kind of see you like a little freak, and like you're kind of this weird guy over here, this weird girl. And so you meet other freaks from other parts of the world, and you don't feel like a freak. You feel like it's okay. I'm not so bad, you know? So before I jump into this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, just because a lot of people have misconceptions, and one thing I'm going to do today, is I'm going to debunk 6 myths that are out there when it comes to web series. I'm going to tell you the myth, and I'm going to give you the truth. So let's start, though. Let's watch this video. It's a 12-minute video of a bunch of web series from different parts of the world that you can check out, and then I'll continue from there. Oh, I'm actually the one showing the video, so that's sorry about that. I remember. All right, let's see here. Okay, yeah. There we go.
We got a tip the Ed Wood gang's meeting here tonight. Screenwriting group been terrorizing some of the local production companies since January, mailing in unsolicited screenplays, cold calling.
Wait for the signal, folks. The signal.
Eternal sunshine.
Drop it! Drop it. Get up.
More scripts in here! More scripts! More scripts on more scripts!
Haven't seen anything like this before. Quite a score.
I'd guess 800, maybe $900 million if they got produced.
What do they do with them? Where do they all go?
Rosie, how about you go fetch Pearl?
That's one fine strapping mab there.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yeah. You seen this woman?
She wanted?
Manner of speaking.
You sure you haven't seen her? I'm sure. In case she shows, we'll be holed up at the Esmeralda for a few days.
Unless you have any objections to that, Sheriff.
Why would I? Maggie, it's me.
Sneaking up on people, Nate. It's a good way to get yourself killed.
Auditioning
Yeah, you?
Heck yeah. Metal rats. Man, of all the days for Summer to show up, you gotta be kidding me. You ain't kidding me.
You stoned again?
No, man, no. I'm just... What was I saying?
I'm going to date every single guy until I find my +1. I had to act fast.
Coming with me, sexy?
Just go with me on this one. I mean, I just saw my old self flash before me, and I was not going to just sit there and let that happen. I had to take action, and I had to be quick. Right place, right time is half the battle.
Oh, that's what he likes it. Ooh, it's very nice. Oh, Daddy knows what Daddy likes. Come on. Do you wanna hang around? Oh, yeah. Now, fuck it. Turn it off. Yeah, I lost it on the beat. I lost it on the beat. That's right. Like it or don't like it. Yeah. You can take this one or leave this one. He's in this house.
Did I seriously just ride this guy in my window?
It's part of the job. You really just got to think on your feet. Because sometimes things are thrown at you and you just got to handle them. You never know when the poop's going to hit the fan. Cut. Can we cut that, please? Oh, boy. Coming through. Coming through. Breathe on. Breathe, 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 breathe on. Up ahead, up ahead. Here we go. This should be fine. Not my first pick, but it's okay. Oh, an illegally parked car. Yippee. Duty calls. Oh. Hello. Can I use your restroom? What do you mean you don't have a bathroom? I mean you have chili on the menu, for God's sake. That's probably against code.
Bag. Had to drop my kid off. Why don't you go f yourself? Shove this up your ass.
No room. I gotta go. Oh, this isn't good. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. Oh, mommy, I'm gonna go caca. Oh no. Oh, there's an outhouse. Oh. Not again. Nobody's perfect. You know, I'm just an ordinary guy who happens to be living an extraordinary life. I mean, we all make mistakes. It's just how we deal with those mistakes that really make us who we are.
Distinguished male and henchmen, stand up!
So you just want me to go up there and grab his key?
No! Stand back, you silly man! It's far too dangerous!
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is! I've got his 31-inch
tail in my sights. For God, for England, and St. George! Told you!
Don't push these things to the limit.
I have enough power and speed to grind your gut to a pulp. Things go very fast. Never,
ever get them up to those speeds.
Guys, amigos, I'm gonna get the two on derecha. It means you guys get the one that's left.
No. Reggie, you piece of shit!
Ease up on the controls. Cuidado, amigo. Slow down.
I don't need you to tell me how to do my job.
Slow down.
Hold back. I'm not fucking around. Reggie?
All right. You said you wouldn't steal anything from your friend.
Right.
Would you steal anything from anybody else?
Nope.
Would you steal something from me?
Of course not, Your Honor.
I was on my way back from the bathroom, and I saw her come out of the room where our luggage was.
Okay, did you see her cut up the clothes?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
Did I talk to you?
No, Your
Is your name Jennifer?
No, Your Honor.
You may not interrupt while I'm talking.
Is this true? Did you ask for the pills? No. Okay, somebody's lying in here. I want to know who it is.
No, I worked hard for that money to buy my own clothes, and they shouldn't have been cut up, Chantel.
Okay, don't get all rowdy. Do you have any other witnesses or any other proof?
Cindy's little sister, Brenda, but
Who is
she's
3
years old
because
she's in
I did not ask you.
What could inspire 1,000 criminals to dance instead of fight, and dance together?
So we dance and we stop the floors, and we clap our hands and we scream for more. So we dance and we stop the floors, and we clap our hands and we scream for more. I believe the need in me to change my point of view.
Wait!
Checking out a noise complaint. Somebody heard cursing and yelling from next door. Could be some amateurs rehearsing Mammoth. Could be something worse, we don't know.
Officer, here, please. Help me.
Hold on. What's the problem?
My husband, he's trying to make me read the screenplay he wrote. I just can't do it again.
Is he a paid professional, ma'am? Has he ever sold a script before?
He watches the Sci-Fi Channel a lot.
Sir, drop the script, get on your knees!
Just put it down, Arnie!
Honey, don't do this to me.
Drop the script, sir! I only have one act left!
You said that 3 years ago!
Drop the script now!
So that kind of gives you just want to give you an idea of some of the work that's being done, because again, there are a lot of stereotypes about web series. I've had meetings with studios. I had a meeting at Disney, and a guy said, the executive who said he was very open to a web series festival. But then when I met with him, he said, you know, most web series suck. You know, I've seen, they're not very good. And I said, how many have you watched? He said, 2. I said, well, you can't judge someone based on seeing, you know, 2 people or 2 shows. And again, I wanted to give you some of the diversity. I want you to remember some of the names of the shows because 2 people in this audience, I've got a couple of T-shirts I brought from LA. I'm going to give it to 2 people. But you got to remember some of the shows you saw because I'm going to ask you a question about a show. And if you name the show correctly, you're going to get 2 people are going to walk away with a T-shirt. So just to keep you awake. But yeah, one of the first myth about web series I'm going to talk about is the myth that web series are being made by amateurs and unskilled filmmakers. And that's, from my experience running the LA Web Fest and having watched over 1,200 submissions that have come through, that's far from the truth. Since 1998, approximately 5,000 web series have been made worldwide. That's the guesstimate I was given by a few people. Most of them are being made by industry professionals, people who've actually gone to school. They went to school for filmmaking, like a lot of you who are here, radio and television and film. They got out of school, looked for a job, could not find a job exactly in the field. So they took another job, a day job, something to do while they were waiting for the right job to happen. And then that job became their career. Because then, you know, once you get caught up in a job and then you start competing for promotion and benefits. And so they have the skill, but they have not doing what they set out to do with their lives. And so that's the dream deferred. These people are now having children and saying, oh, my son, look, Junior is going to do it. He's going to become the filmmaker. Or Sasha is going to become the actress that I wasn't able to do, a filmmaker. And then here comes the web series, which is giving so many people a second chance, people who are talented, who are skilled, who have studied this, a chance to try it again. Whether they make it or not, they can at least express themselves. And also the cost of production has gone down. Cameras are much cheaper than they were 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. Final Cut Pro changed everything, changed the game. You can go buy an edit system, edit at your house. You don't have to pay, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to edit something like you used to. Basically what the web series has done is kind of, in many ways, leveled the playing field because anyone can get involved. Doesn't mean everybody's making great stuff because some people, you know, they should be like script cops. They should never write a script. They should never film anything because they don't, you know, they don't have it. But that doesn't mean they can't try. And that's what, you know, up until the web series, to me, as someone who works in the industry, television and film, even theater in some ways, is an elitist profession. You know, if you got to have some money, some connections to do it, or some health and great luck. You have to be talented as well. But I know a lot of talented people who are not working in the industry, not because they're not good enough. They didn't have the connections. They didn't get the opportunity. They became discouraged. They quit. They went and did something to make them feel good so they don't feel bad about themselves. And so the web series is giving people a chance to feel good about themselves and to get to try again. And so, again, that's one of the biggest myths. We see a lot of good stuff. We see some bad stuff, but I would say it's about, I would say more than 50-50. We see shows that are pretty good, that are worth looking at. And not just in America, but all over the world. Canada is probably the second biggest hub of web series. Australia is a big hub. Italy is a big hub. Like I said, when I started, I thought web series was just an American thing, LA, New York, East Coast, West Coast. I had no idea that various pockets of the world, people are making shows and expressing themselves, and it was, it's like a major discovery in a good way, in a wonderful way. Another myth about web series is that the US is the only country really making web series. Not true at all. The most web series are being made in the US, no doubt. I mean, California has got to be the web series capital of the world, but then Hollywood is right there, so it makes sense. New York, different parts of America, places you wouldn't expect, Missouri, Rhode Island, Arkansas, places where I'm surprised they even have electricity. They're making web series in the US. But also around the world, again, Canada's number 2. Canada, not only are they making web series, the web series are excellent. They have Canada's the only country in the world where they have actually a government agency that gives money for web series, up to 3 million Canadian dollars. It's called the International Production Fund. And they give $3 million, to 15 to 20 different filmmakers. You have to be from Canada. And they give them about $150,000 each. And they're making just incredible shows. And they're really supportive of it. Australia is also huge. A lot of web series coming out of Australia. In Europe, Italy is the #1 producer of web series in Europe, followed by probably Spain. Italy has 3 web series festivals. Spain has 2 web series festivals. England, there's good stuff coming out of England. They have a web series festival through Raindance, the Raindance Film Fest, Web Fest. France was the first, we'll get into that later, but France was the first country to have a festival. But they also have a lot of stuff coming out of France, a lot of good shows. Not as many as Italy and Spain, though, or England. I'm going to just, again, to show you that it's not just me talking. I'm going to show you, we're going to look at a clip now of some web series, not just from the U.S. Like, you're going to see web series right now from all around the world. I'll put together a little compilation for you to see. Again, remember the name of some of these shows because you're going to get a quiz. I know you're in school, so that's why you're having a quiz. You're still in school. And for these T-shirts, so keep in mind what you're seeing, okay? So we're going to look at this next clip of this next show. World. Left out some shows from Turkey. I left out shows from Amman, Jordan. I left out shows from Switzerland, from Spain. Well, we had Spain in there. But again, we've had 36 different countries represented at LA Web Fest. It's just amazing what's happening around the world. Everybody wants to express themselves and let other people know what's going on in your town. And in some ways, it reminds me so much of theater. You know, theater is a reflection of what's happening on the ground, even more so than television, definitely more than film, because it's more accessible. And for so many years, theater was if you want to express yourself and you couldn't make a movie or a TV show, you could always do a play. But the web series, to me, is even more accessible because it travels. You know, a play, you have to be there to experience it. You have to go to the play. And if you don't go to the play, you don't see the play, you don't witness it. And it's not the same thing. If you see a play on video, it's not the same as seeing a play live. And so the web series is great because you can do your show in Ludwigsburg, and it can travel all over Germany and to other parts of Europe and all over the world. And they get a taste of what you're doing and what you're about. And that's why I call the web series the play that never closes. There's no close date. It's always running. It's always on. So that's the second myth, again, that the U.S. is the only one making web series. As you saw, they're being done all over the world. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. Some places, the countries, the third world countries, Turkey, they're fighting right now. They're dealing with Syria, that whole thing, but they're making web series. People are finding time to tell their stories and show the world what they're about. The third myth is that most web series are comedies and not diverse. And I will agree, while an estimated, I would probably say 70 to maybe even up to 75, even 80% of all web series are comedies. Which I think is because I think all over the world people want to laugh. You know, they want to forget their troubles and they want to tell stories that make people smile. But they're also making comedies, dramas, dramedies, mockumentaries, soap operas, documentaries, reality shows, travel shows, talk shows, lifestyle shows, animated, as you saw, animation, animated comedies, animated dramas, music shows, musicals. The Prison Dancer, for example, that you saw from the Philippines. That's done out of it's made by a Filipino filmmaker. She was inspired by that. You guys have you guys seen the video that came out like 8 or 9 years ago with the prisoners in the Philippines? They wake up every morning and they exercise by dancing to like Michael Jackson. You got 300 guys dancing to Thriller, which is pretty amazing. And it was inspired by that video. That video led to the web series, and then the web series led to a play. And they wound up doing the play, and now they're back to doing the web series. So they're interactive narrative dramas, they're interactive narrative comedies. It's just amazing the range of web series that people are making. They're not limiting themselves to just comedy, drama, reality. They're really, if you can envision it, if you have an idea of the kind of show you want to tell, you can do it as a web series. They even have a 5-minute talk show. The talk show lasts 5 minutes, 30 seconds of jokes, 30 seconds of music, about 2 minutes of interview, and it's over. So it's very short. But yeah, so that's the third myth. The fourth myth is that web series don't do anything for your career. That if you make a web series, you're wasting your time and your money because it won't do anything for you. And that's a myth. Because the web series are doing wonders for producers, for writers, directors, and actors. A lot of people think that who can't break into Hollywood the traditional way, they're making web series to do it, to get in. I'm sorry, that people are thinking that the only people who are making web series are people who can't break into show business or entertainment. But that's not true. You have guys like producers like Bryan Singer, who does X-Men. You know, he has the web series H+. You've got actors like Patrick Duffy from Dallas, who has a web series, Love and Lake, and Zack Snyder, the producer, director of 300, he's doing the web series. The Australian Oscar winner Jeffrey Rush is in the web series Being Brendo. He's in a couple of episodes. This is Jeffrey Rush, but he recognizes the value. Basketball superstar Kobe Bryant has a web series. Billionaire Warren Buffett has a web series. Studios like Fox, Warner Brothers, Sony, they are all in the web series game because everybody recognizes the value of this medium to reach people in ways that TV and film, in some ways, it's more intimate. They're not even reaching people that way. Sony, there was a guy that was making a web series a couple years ago. He and his partner were making a web series, and Sony heard about the web series. They read the script, and then they said, hey, let's take over. We want to take over, and we want to put some money into your show. Well, how much money do you want to put in my show? Oh, $1 million. Put about $1 million into this show. They had a vision. Their vision was to make it a web series, but also sell it overseas as a movie, sell it on cable, pay cable, then have it run on television overseas as well. And they would recoup their money plus some. And so this show was called, you haven't heard of it, it's called The Bannon Way. And I'm going to show you right now what $1 million web series looks like in just a second. But again, it put these guys on the map. They were just two guys doing a web series. Their agent got it to Sony, and next thing you know, they've got $1 million project that's really helped their careers tremendously. That is what $1 million buys you if you're doing a web series with Sony. But the truth is with web series is you don't need $1 million to tell a web series, to do your web series. That's just one extreme example. Most people are doing web series for under $1,000. I know two guys that did a web series with an iPhone, $300. So it's not about how much money you spend, it's about the creativity inside of you and what kind of story you can tell on limited budget. And again, if you come from theater, you see people telling stories about huge things that you shouldn't be able to put on stage, but they find a way to be creative and make you believe that you are seeing it. But the web series, from what I've seen, is that the money you spend making a short film, a play, or a film, you'll spend less making a web series. If you use the same creativity, same ingenuity, you will spend less money, you'll have more episodes, and they'll last a whole lot longer in terms of being able to do something for your career. Again, a lot of people, there's a show called Awkward Black Girl about a black woman who did a web series about what it's like being a black woman in America, in corporate America. And the web series has received millions of views. It got her an agent with one of the major agencies in Hollywood. It got her a job on a cable channel as a host of the show called Exhale. And it's the web series is now at HBO, and they have a development over there at HBO. They're developing the web series into a TV series. Her name is Issa Rae, and the show is called Awkward Black Girl. She had a deal at ABC last year with Shonda Rhimes of Grey's Anatomy and How to Get Away with Murder. But it's all based on her web series. And she's not your traditional Hollywood leading lady. She has a different kind of look. She's very tall. So all these things were working against her in television and film. And nothing ever happened for her career. But she makes a web series that changes her whole career. And people know who she is because of it. And she's just one person. Other people, at least in America, that's happening for with the web series. That's why it's something that you should all be a part of. That's why the name of this this symposium, this particular lecture is the web series and why you really want to be a part of what's going on. I call the web series the people's entertainment in the sense that if you think about most television and film and even theater, most of these professions in the past have been sponsored by wealthy people, wealthy patrons. If you're doing a Broadway show or a play, or advertisers, right? Madison Avenue, Wall Street, big corporations. If you really think about how TV works and how film works, today all of these companies that make TV shows and films and that make Broadway plays, almost all of them are controlled by major corporations. So if your message is not something that they want to put out, then it won't happen. Your TV show's not going to happen, your movie's not going to happen, and your play's not going to happen. So really, they're the puppet masters, and we're the puppets. Web series is a little different because you would call the first type of storytelling top-down storytelling, because the power is coming from the top that's empowering the people at the bottom. It's coming from here and going down here. What you have with web series is you have bottom-up storytelling, because the people at the bottom, the people are dictating the stories. No one's controlling them. No one's telling you what to do. You're telling whatever story you want to tell. And I believe that part of the reason why a lot of people are being discouraged from making web series and engaging in this, and I know some people that feel that people that make web series, how dare they make a web series? Who gave them permission to pick up a camera? Who are they to tell a story, to write something and direct it and produce it? And I say, who are you to tell someone else what they can say or not say? Because storytelling is very subjective. What might be important to me may not be important to you. And what's great about web series is that the people are determined, in various communities, no matter what country, what state you're in, it's the people who are determining what you're seeing. They're talking about what's going on in their town, in their city, in their province. And that's the first time that this has ever happened, where the people are dictating the story and not the corporations and advertisers. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and that's why if you watch web series, you'll see some stories that you've never seen anywhere, or not told quite that way if you watch them. And that's what I love about watching them, these web series. I'm always curious to see what's going on in Italy, what's going on in Naples. Let's go more specific. What's going on in Rome? What's going on in Tuscany? What are the people talking about in Spain, in Valencia? What's going on in Germany, in Berlin? And it's really very grassroots. And I think it's wonderful what's happening. But it's really this kind of storytelling to me is the most honest of all of them, because it's not motivated by money, and no one's telling you what to do. You really have the freedom to do it. And I would say, don't let anyone tell you or discourage you. The only people that are telling people not to make web series are, to me, the people that want to keep it the way it always has been. It's been an elitist profession, and very few people have been able to get in. Sometimes you get lucky or you get blessed, you're talented. But I know a lot of talented people that aren't doing this and just got discouraged and quit because they were too smart to keep trying. And the dumb people like me kept hung in there and eventually got in. But most people I know will, just quit early. So the web series is another way to get in, and so you should definitely take advantage of it. Here's another myth about web series, is that you can't make any money from your web series. Again, that's a myth. That's not true. Some people are making money from their web series. I mentioned Issa Rae as an example of someone who's making money on her web series, Awkward Black Girl, that propelled her from doing a web series. Now she's a TV personality, and she has a TV career, and she's developing a television show, and she's very famous because of it. But there are other shows, for example, there are other ways to monetize. Besides that, you can put up a paywall. When I did my web series, I put up a paywall, and I charged $1 for 3 episodes. And I charged $2 for 6 episodes, and I charged $3 for 9 episodes, and $4 for 12 episodes. And guess what? It took 2 years, but in 2 years, I made all my money back. $1 at a time. Telling people I knew, sample it, it's only $1. You want to support me? Buy the first 3 episodes of my show. And that's how I made the money back that I spent on the show. There's another show called Perfect Girl out of Singapore that was done by 2 wonderful, talented filmmakers, and they also have a paywall in there. The first 5 episodes of their show is free. The next 7 episodes you have to pay. I think it's $3 to watch their show. There's another, excuse me. There's a show you saw earlier called El Porvenir out of Mexico. That show is the #1 web series in Mexico, in the history of Mexico. They have a paywall. Season 1 is like $4, and they just did season 2, but they're charging people to watch it. Some people don't think you should charge, you should give it away for free. There's a debate about that. I think there's nothing wrong with charging. They charge for everything else. Television is not free. Movies aren't free. In fact, movies are going up every year. Even with the bad economy, the movie prices are going up. Theater is not free. Theater, you pay. So why can't you pay for a web series? What happens is when you give something away for free, what happens? Oftentimes, it's hard to go back and make people pay, because once they get it for free, they don't want to pay you, no matter how good it is. They say, hey, why am I paying for this? It's free. Everybody, why? No one else is. But people will pay if you ask them. I've noticed they paid for my show, and they're paying for these other shows. And I believe in the future, you're going to see more web series where people are paying for them. They have a site called JSTV, if you've ever heard of it. JSTV is a site where you pay to watch shows. You pay a subscription, $3.99 a month, and you can watch all the web series you want the whole month. You pay $39 a year, and you can watch all the web series you want for the entire year on that site. That's a great model, because people that are making these web series deserve to get paid. They're talented. They've worked hard. Why not? Why shouldn't they? But I have other examples of a web series making money. Back in 2000, the first web series I ever saw was an animated web series. It was called Undercover Brother. It was about a black guy who worked in a big office building, cleaning the office. And because he was a janitor, nobody paid him any attention, but he was really a spy. He was really a spy, and he was collecting information for this agency he worked for. Universal Studios, they bought that idea from the writer. His name was John Ridley. And that launched and they made it into a feature film with Eddie Griffin. You're going to see a clip from it. That film launched his career as a screenwriter. He was already writing movies. He wrote, same guy that wrote, you remember the movie Three Kings? The same guy that wrote Three Kings. Did you remember the movie called U-Turn? U-Turn with, I think it was J-Lo? Yeah, same guy is John Ridley. But that really got him into feature film making. And this year, John Ridley won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for 12 Years a Slave. That's the same guy. But web series helped his career big time. So right now, I'm going to show you a clip from Undercover Brother. You're going to see some stills from the animated web series from 2001, and then you're going to see the movie that came out 2 years later. Some clips from that. All right, stand by.
Pressure and always in control. He's one brother who works undercover.
It ain't no thing.
But when a dangerous criminal needs to be stopped,
Get me undercover, brother!
he's the one to call.
Welcome to the Brotherhood.
Blackness confirmed. You got sold.
His mission to infiltrate the enemy.
It's gonna be a very dangerous assignment. You're gonna have to think and act just like an uptight white man with a country club membership.
May I help you? Jackson. Anton Jackson. And no, I'm not one of the Jackson 5.
It's time to unleash our secret weapon.
Wow,
I call it Black Man's Kryptonite.
what the hell?
Can I help you smell?
Would you like to be my friend?
What are you doing with that girl? Nothing relaxes a brother after a hard day of going undercover like a little piece of...
Now, he's taking it to the streets. And taking it to the sheets.
What happened to you? He had sex with a white girl, that's what.
Oh, was it everything I dreamed of?
Excuse me?
No, man, you can't be doing that.
That's white she-devil.
Get him!
Come on, baby, come on!
From Universal Pictures and Imagine Entertainment.
Damn, that girl gets some rain.
Comes a brother.
Oh, that ain't right.
Like no other.
I feel good.
Eddie Griffin is...
You mess with the fro, you got to go.
Undercover Brother.
Would you stop fooling around?
That happened in 2002, 2003. A lot of people don't know that, but that web series, that's the first web series I ever saw. 6-episode animated web series on urbanworks.com, and it became a movie 2 years later and made history. And then the writer went on to just win an Oscar this year. The importance here, what we're trying to show here, is that you should look at your web series like anything, any other form of content. If you write a play, a TV show, a movie, a poem, a song, it's content, and as long as it's content, it has a value, and it has a value beyond what it is. I mean, there are many songs that have gone on to become movies. The Hotel California is an example. I mean, so many songs that someone was inspired by the song, and they went and wrote a movie from it. Television and film understand that. That's why they're constantly taking a film property and making it into a Broadway play like Ghost. Ghost was a movie that came out in 1989, and now it's in the West End in London. It's playing on Broadway. Hollywood knows that. Beauty and the Beast was an animated comedy that became a live-action TV show, that became a book, that became a movie, that became a Broadway play. So they don't, Hollywood doesn't look at books and TV shows and songs and plays as just that one thing. But web series, we still look at a web series as just, we limit our minds as, oh, this is just a web series for the internet. It's too small. It's nothing. It has no value. It doesn't help that no one wants to pay you for it. That's part of I think the low self-esteem is from a lot of people that are making web series. They don't believe it's anything more. But as you saw with Undercover Brother, and there are other examples of this, that we have to look at the web series beyond its current form and think of other ways that the web series can be valuable. I'm going to give you another example of this. And let me see if I can do this right. Okay, let's see. Anybody, who remembers the movie? Who remembers the movie called Catch Me If You Can? Who remembers that? Remember that? That was with Leonardo DiCaprio. Was a very clever guy. He was a pilot. He was a surgeon. He was this con man that had, father was a thief, and father was just a slick guy, never amounted to much. And DiCaprio was not going to become like his father. He was going to find a way. He found his way by impersonating people. You guys know the story. Well, did you know that movie is based on this book here? Catch Me If You Can is based on a book from 1978. And that's what inspired the film. It took many years for that film to get made, and it became a successful film. I do this right. Okay. I did this so well in practice. Before you were here, I just did this so great, and let's see. God, it's not going down. What did I do wrong? So it's not just me, huh? This is the expert right here. What's over here? Yeah, so then, of course, we just saw the book, became this. became the movie, the hit movie from 10 years ago. And now it's on Broadway. It's on Broadway. It's breaking records on Broadway. It's been traveling all over the world. This book, again, let's remember, it started as a book, then a film, 1978, 2003, 2012. The same way, I keep showing this because it's the same thing. It's just being monetized in different mediums. And the web series can do the same thing. If we again view it as not just a web series, but as something with a stronger, a greater value. Another example of a web series making money and for the creator is, did anyone see the web series by Lisa Kudrow from Friends called Web Therapy? Remember that one? That was a web series that is now a television show on Showtime. It's been on Showtime for many years, about 6 years now. And don't know where my video went. I don't know what happened to the video. Just kinda, sorry. Did you do that? He just came and touched it. And okay, all right. So we're gonna look at get a little taste of web therapy. We're gonna see a little bit of the web series that came out. Again, this is Lisa Kudrow after Friends deciding she wants to do something. Very simple idea. I'm gonna do a show where I'm playing a therapist and I'm gonna be interviewing a lot of my famous friends. And Showtime saw it. They just expanded it into a half hour, and it's been on for 7 years. Here's a little taste of web therapy. An idea, brilliant idea, very simple, very inexpensive to do. You're just pretty much paying her and paying the talent, but the set is pretty static the same week, and the real entertainment is seeing what these famous people are going to say in the therapy session. I thought it was just brilliant what she did. But again, the big famous star taking advantage of this medium, not just the little people, not just people trying to break into Hollywood. This is someone who's already in Hollywood, who's a legendary television personality. Taking advantage of this. 6 years ago, before I got into web series, a friend of mine who's on my board of directors, his name is David Morales, he was already, this guy went to Harvard, went to Stanford, MBA, law student. He was doing a web series with a guy named, anybody know the rapper Pitbull? Reggaeton rapper named Pitbull. So my friend was doing a web series with Pitbull. It's a little 2-minute web series. He asked me to work on it. I said, nah, I was just doing television. I wasn't doing web. I said, man, there's no money in web series. No way. I'm a television writer. And then the next year, NBC bought the web series, and they adapted it into a television series for Mundos, which is the NBC station cable channel that is targeted specifically for Latinos in the United States. And they adapted this show into a television show, and then I said, hey, man, is that job still? No, we're full. No, we've got all our writers, Mike, sorry. But it was really inspiring to watch this happen because that was always his plan from the beginning. But again, another web series turned TV series, and it ran for 2 years on NBC, Mundos. Here's an example of, it's called La Esquina, starring Pitbull. That's La Esquina. Again, another that was kind of a reality web series of Pitbull and his lifestyle and his friends. But again, it sold to NBC, and my friend who I was laughing at in 2006 was laughing at me in 2008. So again, yet another example. Just last Thursday, in the papers and the trades, Fox TV bought an idea from a former executive named Sandy Gruschow. They bought an idea. It's an Australian web series called The Weathermen. Have you heard of The Weathermen? Fox just bought that idea on Thursday, and they're going to adapt it into a television series. Last year, about a year and a half ago, I was inspired because my friend, what he did with La Esquina, I was inspired. I took a web series that I did. I did one web series about 5 years ago, and I'm a television writer. That's my day job. I write movies and mainly television and movies. And I reimagined my web series, which only has 3 people in it, as a television series. Expanded it. Basically, I took my TV skills and applied it to the web series and brought that into, and I wrote 9 episodes of the show. took my web series, took the 9 episodes, and I went to some investors, people I knew with money basically, and said, this is what I'm trying to do. Will you support what I'm doing? They said yes. And we raised enough money to make these 9 episodes. We finished it last year, at the beginning of this year, and now we're shopping it around, taking meetings, and very close to having a cable deal to run the show. And it's been an amazing journey and a great experience, but it wouldn't have happened without my web series. So the web series is called Who. The television series is called Basketball Wife. Same show, but a different title. What I did was I took one of the characters in the web series, who in her character, the web series is about basically 2 black girls who meet beautiful women. One works, one doesn't have to work. She's married to a guy who's a professional basketball player. And they meet every day for lunch, and they just talk about people. And one of their friends they grew up with, he's like the butler. He's the servant. That's the web series. The TV show focuses on the girl with money, the one who doesn't have to work. And you see her husband, who you never see in the web series. You never see the guy. You only hear about the guy. Now you see that couple and the people in their world. And the friend that comes over for lunch every day, she still comes by. She's the accountant. And the butler, who was their best friend, who was living with them in the guest house, he is now her uncle. And he still has the same purpose as a chef. Again, taking what I know in television and applying it to web series so that web series now becomes television friendly. And it worked, and it worked so far. Here's a little sample of it so you can see some of the web series, and you can also see some of the TV series. The TV series, I'm only going to show the first scene and a scene later on. I'm not going to show the whole thing because of time, but you'll see the first scene, and then you'll see a scene that happens later on in the second act. Okay? Again, this opportunity would not have been possible without my web series. The web series, when the investors, when they read the script, some of them, a few of them, we have 8 of them, 3 of them were a little shaky. They weren't sure. And they insisted on seeing the web series. And after they watched the web series, it gave them a visual image. Even though the web series and the show are completely different. But for some reason, watching the web series gave them more confidence in the TV series. So again, that's I'm a living example that you can take your career to another level. You can monetize your web series, not just with the web series itself, but by thinking of your web series as more than a web series, as content, as whether it has a value today or tomorrow, it exists and it does have a value, and you have to look at your web series as a transformer. And the fact that no matter what it looks like on the surface, it can be more. It can be more than what it is, just like everything else. And that's the big challenge with our web series. One of the things that that's helping, people ask me, the sixth myth is that the web series cannot sustain itself without an economic model. And I say that the truth is that the biggest problem that web series has is saturation. Most people, how many people in this room have watched a web series? Have seen one web series? How many? What's that? 1, 2, 3. Maybe 20 people. There are about 60 people in this room. Maybe a third of you have seen web series, and you're doing better than the average person. If we were to go out of this building to the street, and if we gathered 60 people and said, how many people have seen a web series? Maybe if we got 2 hands, I'd be very impressed. Because most people have never seen a web series. They don't know what a web series is. Even those people I know who are making web series, a lot of them only watch their show or their friend's show. They don't sit down on Friday night or on the weekend and say, oh, let me see what someone is making in Australia or in Italy or another part of even the United States. So until that happens, until there's a greater saturation, the web series itself is not going to have a value like a television and film and theater, where people talk about TV shows on Monday at work. They're talking in the break room or at their office, at cubicle, about the TV show they saw, about the movie they just saw, or even a play, if they've seen a play. And so that's something that has to happen first before you see a really sustainable economic model beyond things like adaptation. And, adaptation is for right now, but for it to sustain itself, we have to watch it more. And What's changing that, what's helping to change that is the existence of web series festivals. Like I said, I started one 5 years ago. I didn't expect, I was going to do it for just 1 year, and here I am 6 years later, and it's been growing. And 5 years ago, there was no web series festival in the world. 4 years ago, there was just one. That was mine. 3 years ago, there was two. My festival and the one in France by my good friend Jean-Michel Albert, the Marseille Web Fest. Since in the last 2 years, there have been 28 web series festivals that have popped up in the last 2 years. There's three in Rome alone. There's two in Spain. There's one in England. There's one in France. There's one in Belgium. There's one in Russia. There's one in China. Well, there was one in China. It's going to be in Singapore. There's one in Brazil. Going to be one in Brazil. One in Mexico that just happened in June. There's one in Australia, in Melbourne. The web festivals are, to me, going to play a key role in the proliferation and saturation of web series, because it gives you a chance, if you don't know what a web series is, it gives you a chance to go to your local festival and watch some of the shows and gain an appreciation and a knowledge about web series, because most festivals also have panels and workshops as well to educate the public about web series. And it also gives web series makers a place to go and mingle and network with other people and get to know other people who are doing what they do. In LA, it's so funny. A lot of times, we have web series makers that come from the same country. For example, Canada. We had people a couple years ago, 3 people came from Canada, very prolific, amazing web series makers. They didn't know each other. They met in LA. They didn't know each other, and they're from the same country. So what it does is that by gathering together especially under one roof, almost like what we're doing here with the symposium, it gives like minds a chance to meet and know each other and work together. A lot of them go on and do shows together. They cross over their web series, and it just gives you a comrade, a partner, a friend to build with. I'm going to show you, LA Web Fest has grown. Our first year, we only had 50 web series. Our second year, we had 125. Our third year, we had 178. Our fourth year, we had 262 web series that we showed. This past year, we showed 320 web series out of over 500 submissions that we've received. And you'll see in this video, we were at a very small place, and now we're at a very big place. And I'm not rich, and I'm not a genius. And so it doesn't take it's not about money, and it's not about who's the smartest. But I definitely believe in what I'm doing. And I believe in the people that are in it. I believe that they are valuable and their stories are valuable. And you just kind of go with the rest of it every year. When we left the little theater we were at in 2011, the little theater I said that was about this big, half of this room, I was very fortunate and got into a hotel, the Radisson at LAX, and I was so thrilled to be at the Radisson. And I had made it with the festival. I was going to be here for 10 years. I was never leaving this place. And then 3 years later, I got an even bigger opportunity. This hotel, the Hilton at Universal Studios, they came to me. They came to my house. And they said, hey, we'd like to just ask you if you would consider for next year, we'd like to have something like this here. I couldn't believe it. It's beyond my imagination. So I love where the festivals are going. I have a little treat for you as well after I show the next video. And also, we're going to do our little trivia, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to ask some questions about some of these videos you've seen. Somebody's going to win a T-shirt. 2 people. All right. Here. Oh, I'm also this. This is my job too. Let me take care of this. Let me not forget. Here we go. This is the trailer for the current Los Angeles Web Series Festival happening in April. Here you go.
The average male can inseminate over 14 women per day and spit. Oh, you are a handsome young man, and we both know you have a history of questionable behaviour with the women, new women, every few nights.
No, that was a long time ago. All right, I was young. See, I love Becky. Women deserve respect.
Don't make me vomit. See, what if we were to use your skills for good instead of evil? I mean, if you tried really hard to make up for Becky's decision by, say, impregnating 7 women and, say, the next 7 days, oh, I'm ecstatic, we could forget about this whole sordid mess.
Do you want to keep this job?
Yeah, why?
Maybe you should start acting a little bit more professionally and less of an actress, huh?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Okay, you just made a huge scene with that waiter, and everyone in the restaurant turned around and looked at us, okay? So nope, someone's probably gonna call TMZ and it's gonna be terrible. Alice, being an actress and being well known is really hard, okay? And I'm not like you. I can't just throw on whatever crumpled Target mess that hasn't been washed in months on and just venture out into the world, okay? People have expectations of me.
Come into it. That's why you put the other picture on the website. I get that now. You were worried that people wouldn't want to get to know the real you. And the real you is who you are. And you must never, ever change who you are. And I respect you for that. You are a real woman, Rosie. A woman who wears her heart on her sleeve. A woman that pursues love at all costs. And that is wonderful. And that makes you wonderful. Well, that makes you passionate. In you are so many aspects about what makes this world worth living, and that, Rosie, is love. God bless you, Rosie, because you know what? You've inspired me.
You really think so, Josh?
No.
nothing personal.
I had a great time.
Yeah, we should do it again sometime.
How about tomorrow?
Well, let's try for this weekend.
I don't know if I can wait that long. After all, you are my soulmate.
Oh. How about you give me a call tomorrow afternoon and we'll see how I feel.
Okay.
Whoa. No kisses on the first date, home slice.
You're right. You're right. I apologize. I was completely out of line. I love you, Naomi.
What did you say?
You're lovely, Naomi. You're absolutely lovely.
Oh, because I thought I heard you. You know what? Have a good night. Thank you for dinner.
Okay. I'll call you tomorrow. You heard me right, Naomi Giles. I love you. You're going to be my wife and you're going to have my father, Mike and Micah's. Whew. Thank you, LexisNexis.
Thank you. We're really lucky today. I'm here from representing the United States in Los Angeles, but there are also a couple of other people here today who are joining in the web series organization and presentation. One of those people came all the way here from Ireland because he's starting a festival. He was in LA. I met him in Los Angeles this year, and he said, hey, he was thinking about doing a web fest. Should they do it? And I said, absolutely. Why not? And so through him, through his efforts, the Dublin Web Fest is launching next year. I'd like to ask Mikkel Theory to please come up. Come on up, Mikkel. All right. And another very talented, bodacious, exciting young lady who is from the United States, but she lives in Germany here. And we have a mutual friend. His show you saw called Mission Backup Earth was shown earlier. Alexander Fander, who won the Melbourne Web Fest Grand Prize, which was to come to LA, which is how I met him this year. And through him, he talked about doing a web fest and collaborated with this young lady, Meredith Burkholder, who is now launching the Berlin Web Fest next year. Germany's first web fest. So for this portion, as we close out, we're going to close out. I haven't forgot the T-shirts. We'll do that after. Thomas is going to come up, and he's going to basically do a Q&A. If you have any questions as well, we can answer them for you in the remaining time we have left.
Have a seat. You had to stand for over 2 hours now, so I guess. Oh, thank you. Perfect. It should in a minute. It's not working, the green one. Just wait a second. Channel 4. It's in channel 2. Yeah. Maybe. Otherwise, I will just. Give the, I will pass the mic over. Okay. Thank you, perfect.
Hello.
So, first of all, we got 2 more web festivals for Europe coming next year. What made you decide to start a new festival, and why in Dublin and why in Berlin? So can you tell us a bit shortly about your background and about the festival coming up.
So my name is Mikael. I'm from France originally, and 7 years ago I moved to Ireland. To start with, it was to improve the English, my English, and then I ended up producing a web series called Airways with my friends, and basically, like, Michael selected the show, and back in March I met Michael, and then I realized back in Ireland that like a lot of Irish filmmakers and a lot of people like me, like, you know, from France, from Spain, from Germany, like, you know, were in Ireland to do creative stuff, and basically I think I emailed you, and then I said, okay, what do you think, like, you know, if I set up a new festival, a new web series festival in Dublin, and, like, you know, you said to me, like, go ahead, like, you know, so let's do it then.
Okay. And in Berlin, can you tell us the story about the festival in Berlin, and how did you come to organize next year's festival? And by the way, is there any dates already? Are there dates for next year?
For me, it would be November next year.
November next year. And Berlin?
So Berlin, we're kicking off next August 2015. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. The way it came to me was that I had worked on this show, Mission Backup Earth, that, as Michael said, had won the Melbourne Web Fest. And Alexander went to LA and met Michael, and he came back and said, we've got to make a web fest. Berlin needs a web fest. There's too much being made, too much going on. And he said, but I can't. I don't know how. And so I said, I'm happy to take it on. To me, it's a really exciting opportunity, a chance to bring all the great things that are being made in Berlin to the forefront and let people see them.
Great idea, great idea. Are there already websites online, or how can people get in contact with you?
For me, like, you know, I like social media, like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. So the website, we're gonna have a website very soon, but carry on now. We have a Facebook page, so it's Dublin Web Fest or Dub Web Fest, because Dublin is shortened by Dub, like Dub. You know? And like, you know, so you can follow us on Twitter.
Okay.
And there's a website up now. There's not a lot on it yet, but you can definitely input your email address, and we'll keep you updated as things progress. And the website is webfest.berlin.
Okay, great. So if there are any questions from the audience to Michael, I will be happily to get the questions from you. Otherwise, I would like to know, we have seen so many genres, so many different web shows. Is there, would you say, any trends in web series? Do you see any specific genre getting more and more popular? With
well, can you guys hear me? Is my mic still on? Does it still work if I don't? Oh, good, okay. Comedy. One thing I notice, no matter what country is making web series, comedy, I think people want to laugh. You know, a lot of people are suffering, a lot of people are still struggling in Europe and in America with the economy. And a good laugh, you know, some people just need a good laugh. But we see a lot of comedies and a lot of zombie horror as well. A lot of zombies. People love, I guess because of Vampire Diaries and The Walking Dead, see a lot of people want to be zombies or want to kill zombies, whether it's they have zombie comedies, zombie dramas. So you see a lot of those being made. Workplace, a lot of workplace comedies. People who have interesting jobs or jobs that might seem boring, but for a web series, they bring it to life and make it fun. So you see a lot of workplace comedies. Plus, it's cheap if you shoot in one location. It's always interesting. We have an award that we give out for outstanding premise, and that's it may not be the best show, but it's a hell of a good idea. Maybe they had a great idea. Maybe it wasn't quite executed. Sometimes it is executed well, but the premise is a great premise for a show. Like Prison Dancer is a good example about doing a web series based on the viral video about the prisoners in the Philippines. It was a very unique and great idea.
There seemed to be like a standard for the length of web series, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. Is there still something like a standard, or is it like opening up to longer formats when it comes to web series? What do you think?
Well, there's a difference right now between, to me, the big thing about a web series, what makes it a web series right now is length. because it's shorter. It's not as long as a television show. It's not as long as a movie. So that kind of is probably the big difference. But there's most of the time I find that shorter is better. Again, if you can tell a comedy in under 6 minutes, I think it's better. Just get in and out of there. I mean, again, that's what makes it a web series. It's short. And the same with dramas. Dramas tend to be under 10 minutes, under 12 minutes is the dramas. Probably under 10, the comedy's under 6 minutes. But what's happening is because of the success of Netflix and House of Cards and Lilyhammer and all these Hemlock Grove, that Netflix has really pushed at least the major studios like Yahoo and AOL, they're now doing more long-form stuff. They're now trying to do 30-minute comedies. And you know, Hollywood is about people just following what seems to be working. Very few people are trailblazers or original. They just follow, oh, this is working? Okay, let me go this way. This is working? A lot of them don't know. And so that's the trend with the majors. But independents are still making, and most web series makers, I'd say 90% are independent producers from all over the world. They're still making them short. 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 minutes even. You know, it's still viable, but right now, because of Netflix and Amazon, the majors are going more. There's a debate: is Netflix, is House of Cards a web series, or is it a TV show, or is it? You know, and I think it's both. You could say it's a web series, but it's also a television series. Most web producers don't have $100 million to make a show, so but Netflix has made a major impact, and it's also made the studios respect online entertainment more. Even though, to me, they respect it more so when it comes from them, when they're making it, than when independents are making it. There's still to me, there's a little bit of a rift between web series that's being made by a studio, where they have a lot of money, and web series that's made by independents, where they don't have a lot of money, but they have a lot of creativity.
Well, I would say to wrap up this afternoon, I have one more question for all of you. Can you point out, like, maybe one of your favorite web TV series right now, web series? Have you anything to suggest to keep in mind for the audience to maybe watch later?
To watch later, anyway, to start with, like, you know, like TV series wise, like Breaking Bad was, like, you know, a big impact for me. And basically, I'm a movie goer, so I was watching movies, and then I went to TV series. And for the web series, I think there is actually a French web series called Gabrielle, which was selected in Marseille last month. And so it's a guy, you know, we were, like, you know, in Paris, in a film school in Paris together. And Gabrielle is like a story of a vampire in a subway in Paris, which is very, very cool.
Okay, thank you. Have you any favorites to share with us?
Yeah, I think my favorite web series is the very first one that I had ever seen before I worked on a web series, anything, and it's called High Maintenance. It's about a New York pot delivery guy. He drives around, and it's a great example of these short little snippets into people's lives. You know, it's a great use of the medium and being able to make these 5 minutes. They're getting a bit longer now, maybe up to 10 minutes, but highly recommended.
And Michael, do you have anything?
I can't say a favorite because of the festival. I'll get in trouble because somebody will hear about this and say I'm playing favorites. But I will say that if anybody's thinking of it, even if it's just in your mind, you should do it. You really should do it, and you won't regret it. I think I don't know anyone who's made a web series that's regretted it. It's always done something to change them in a positive way. 25 years ago, there was a TV show on Tracy Ullman's show. You guys are probably too young to remember, most of you students, because you're probably 25 and younger. But it was a show called The Tracy Ullman Show. It was a variety show. She's a British comedian. And in her show, she had little cartoons in her show, 1-minute cartoons. Today, they would call those cartoons a webisode, because it's only 1 minute long. And there would be one in the beginning and one in the end. And I look forward to watch the show because of those little cartoons. And if somebody was smart enough to say, hey, a lot of people like this cartoon, why don't we make it into a television show? Not for kids, but for adults. And they did. Somebody was smart enough, which is so rare in Hollywood. Somebody was smart enough to do it. And that show is still running today, and that show is called The Simpsons. That's called The Simpsons. If you know the origin of The Simpsons, you could say it was a web series. When it was, they were only 1 minute long, and then they became this half hour, and the show has outlived every show that came. It's been running since 1989. So just to, again, show you the power of what this medium can do, you know, commercially, but also for, I think, for me, and I was already working in business, in television and film, but it really did change me. It really, it's like what theater did for me. Theater changed my life in a big way. I was going to quit the business until I did my first play, and I didn't want to do a play because there was no money in it, because it wasn't as prestigious as television and film. But the play changed my life, and the play got me into television, and the play got me into film, ironically. So I would say, if you even have a thought of doing it, if you're here and you've been moved in any way by what anyone has said, by what you've seen, and you say, let me try it, do it. It'll be worth your time.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, one question. Yes.
Okay. When we set up networks, we were always talking about having a web series, and even now we are always talking about it. But for me, sometimes, or why we are hesitating is it feels sometimes like a long trailer for us because we don't find any audience in the web. That's our fear. And you were just talking about it, that nobody knows web series. Nearly in this room, nobody knows web series. So the one thing would be that you just make it and then you can show it to the broadcasters or to the big studios, but it's the feeling that, yeah, it's like a trailer. Is it wrong, or?
Sure.
I would answer that, actually, because it was my question like years ago. And I noticed that now with the social medias like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you have the power to connect with people. So like through Facebook, for example, you can, you know, enjoy some shows because like your friend like maybe like one show, but like then you start to meet people like, you know, in a web festival, and then maybe you can meet like producers. I was like in June in Paris for the Cross Video Days. It was like an event where like broadcasters and producers and web series maker were here, but like nobody knew about web series like I would say like 2 years ago. But with the powerful tool of internet, you can tell a story like, you know, what story like is important for you. Like I think if you are passionate about what you tell, people are gonna watch your show. And like how to market your web series is a tough one, but with the social media now, like you can do it.
It's also still an emerging. Again, web series is still, compared to television and film and theater, it's a baby. It's not even crawling, you know, still on its back. But if you study the history of those mediums, it's the same thing. That nobody was watching television in the beginning. They were still going to movies. Nobody was really watching movies in the beginning. They were going to plays in vaudeville. And the movies, when movies began, if you guys all know, I know you guys all know the history of movies. They were 5 minutes long. You could say they were almost like web series. They were Nickelodeons, and people would go and put a nickel in and watch a 5 or 10 minute film. So it had to grow. They've had a 100-year, 50-year head start. I don't think it's going to take that long for the web series. But I don't know. I think that all of us who do this work in film and television. You guys are here. You all want to be filmmakers. You all want to work in television. But everybody's not going to, it's not going to happen for everybody. Some people here, and it's not going to happen. Let's just be real. And it's no guarantee, if you want to be an actor or a writer, that it's going to happen. And so I look at a web series as, again, it's like making a short film, making an independent movie, doing a play, doing a TV show. That doesn't guarantee, getting a degree, that doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen for you, right? It's the same thing, but we still do it. We still make shorts. We still do things because you have to keep making stuff and hope that something happens. And I really personally really believe in the medium. I just love the accessibility. And I know so many talented people who were shut down, who quit because they couldn't get in. They couldn't get a break. And I like the web series because it gives you a chance to at least express yourself. If you're going to quit, fine. Express yourself and inquit, as opposed to never having a chance to get your voice out. You know, I think that's the worst thing, to never get that chance.
Well, what an afternoon. I personally have a new favorite of all the shows you've shown. Script Cops.
Script Cops,
was really,
yes.
really good.
Yes.
And I guess, as you said, that web series are still kind of a baby in the business. Let's take care of the baby in April in Los Angeles, in August in Berlin, in November in Dublin.
Yes.
And I guess we can continue some talks outside because we have drinks available, finally. And there will be food also. So thank you so
I
much,
just have to give
Michael.
Away, I have to give away these 2 shirts.
Oh yeah, the
just
t-shirts.
I promised
yes.
them. 2
you
shirts
keep your
from
promise.
Los Angeles, all the way from to a guy. I'd like to give one to a man and a woman. There's a medium and a large, and that way. Because so the question is, there was a show that you saw. It was called The Great Dying. It was on one of the videos that was shown earlier. Where was that show from? I heard it from over here. Who said Sweden? Come on up. I heard you first. He's quick. Quick. All right. Woo! What's your name? Nico. Good eye, Nico. Is that good for you?
Yes.
All right. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Don't worry. We got one more for you. Got one more. The next shirt I'm going to give away, hopefully to a woman or a very thin guy, because this is small, is there was a show I mentioned that it was based on the first web series ever to become a movie, and I mentioned the writer went on to win an Oscar this year. What was the writer's name? What was the writer's name? Do you remember his name? His show was called, do you remember the show? Undercover Brother. What was the name of the writer? You tell me the name of the writer, you got a shirt. Nobody remember that? He won an Oscar this year for 12 Years a Slave. Man, who's gonna IMDb quick enough? Who's gonna Yahoo figure it out? Okay, I'll ask another question.
It's 12 years.
That was too hard. All right. Next question is, there was a young lady who did a web series. I mentioned her. Her name, her web series got her an agent at UTA, got her a deal at HBO and a deal at ABC. What was that young lady's name? Remember her name? The show was called Awkward Black Girl. Remember her name? You didn't think I was just going to just give you the T-shirt. You had to. You guys are students. Come on now. Okay, he was good. He got it. Okay, let me ask another one. All right. There was a show you guys saw about the guy that got on the bus called Henry and Aaron's 7 Steps to Superstardom. Remember he got on the bus with all the explosives and nobody took him seriously? Yeah. Where was that show from? What country? Right here.
Very good.
Did anyone else say Australia? A woman? Did a female say Australia? Did I hear? She said it? Did you say it? I'm sorry? Come on up. Come on up. All right. There you go. This your size? Congratulations. There you go. All right. I got a couple more little gifts. I got one more one for you here. All right. There was a show that was from Mexico that I showed you earlier. What was the name of that show? Remember the name of that show? It's from Mexico. It's the #1 web series in Mexico. No, that was Pitbull's show. That's a different one. That was from LA, actually. It was from Mexico about the chupacabra and... Who said that? Come on up. Come up here. All right, I don't know if you can, you see what it got. I think I have, maybe, wow, one shirt left, just for you.
Thank you.
There you go, good memory. And I just have, all I've got left is a program I can, from the LA Web Fest, if you want to have an idea of what the festival's like. And this is a program from last year. I'm going to ask a question. There was a show that I showed earlier, and it was about it was a very different kind of courtroom show. Do you remember the name of that show? It was a courtroom show. Who said that? Come on up. Come on up. Here you go, sir. Hope you make a web series.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael, for this amazing afternoon, and
thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
All the
having
best
me.
for your festivals.
Thank
and so I guess now it's on to drinks and dinner. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. I think. 10 Uhr morgen früh. Super. Schönen Abend euch.